Hi, everyone. Today, I'd like to talk about how you can win contracts through subcontracting, and that's specifically if you have not won contracts as a prime. A lot of businesses, they think that they can just come in, win a government contract, become a prime, and snowballs from there. Usually, what most businesses actually go through is they subcontract for a long period of time, they build their past performances, and then they start bidding on government contracts as a prime contractor. And it's by far the easiest way to actually win a government contract is to subcontract, because it's not actually working with the government directly. It's kind of a commercial relationship between two businesses where the prime business kind of won the government contract and you're subcontracting under them. You're taking kind of a specific task of the contract and you're fulfilling that. There are three main ways on how you can get federal revenue. One is you prime contract, and that's what's most commonly discussed, which is you work directly with the government. You submit a proposal, you get assigned the contract, and then you are on the hook for performing the contract. Then you have small business subcontracting and large business subcontracting. In principle, they are the same thing. It's just that the business size is different. When we're talking about large businesses, we're talking about like 50 million plus, whereas small businesses, they're in the 5 million range a year working with the government. So we want to target, which we're going to get to, is we want to target small business subcontracting, and also large business subcontracting could be the strategy for you, depends on your business. But my goal today is to show you how to actually do that. But before we get there, I just wanted to discuss the scale of federal subcontracting. I mentioned this a lot. It's really crucial. 60% of the money going to small businesses is going through subcontracting. So if you're not focusing on subcontracting, you're missing on a large part of the pie. Why should you subcontract? We kind of touched on a lot of these points. I'll try and be quick. One is faster revenue path. You don't have to go through the government contracting long sales cycle. It's all about getting in connection with a business that already is a prime and working with the government. You get access to opportunities that otherwise you would not be able to get access to as a small business. A lot of these projects, if you were to bid on them yourself, you would not be able to fulfill all of them. So working with a large prime, for example, they might need a specific help with a specific task that you would be able to fulfill, which makes it a win-win situation for both of you. And three is you build past performance record, and that's a really crucial part of your government contracting journey as a business. It's all about your past performances. And there's not an easier way of building past performances like subcontracting. You're getting on government contracts, you're doing the work, and then you could add that to your KOLT statement as a past performance. So it's on your record and you could just build from there. Finally, you could expand your relationship both with the agency and with the prime business. You're establishing your name in the field as you are the person for whatever niche you focus on. So if you are working with a commercial business, other businesses would want to work with you. If then you become known to the agency, you're more likely to win government contracts with them as long as you are performing well as a subcontractor. There are key kind of requirements before we get into finding these opportunities and working as a subcontractor is you have to stand out even as a subcontractor. You have to become a subject matter expert in something. And that's why it's very important to niche down as much as possible. You want to focus on one specific thing and be the expert or the go-to business for that thing. For example, if you are, let's say, in software development, if you're going after every IT, cybersecurity, software development contract, then you're not really niching down and focusing your efforts and your messaging. What I would focus on, for example, is backend AI services. Something like that is very specific. Or if you are focused on web development, then you would mention something like backend web development. And you could translate that to your niche. It's really based on your niche. But what the key thing is, you want to niche down as much as possible to become the subject matter expert in something. The second thing is you want to demonstrate past performances. And I know you might ask me, like, I have to start somewhere, and I understand that. As a business, you should have past performances in whichever commercial business you run. And that you could use to subcontract. So you'd be able to kind of showcase your past performances with other businesses or in the kind of commercial space. And finally, if you qualify for a certification, you need to make your best effort to get that certification because it will open up a lot of doors for you. So if you are a women-owned small business, if you are a veteran-owned small business, if you are a hub zone, a small business, 8A, you have to qualify for these certificates and you have to get them. They will definitely open up the doors for you to subcontract because a lot of government contractors, they have to have that vehicle on their contract. So establishing yourself, having the certification will only open up doors for you. Once you get with a business as a subcontractor, there are a few ways that you could showcase your expertise. And even before, one is actually bringing the opportunity for them. So if you are showcasing that, you can do the capture effort yourself and you're able to pull up contracts that you could partner with them on. They have past performances and you think if you would work together with them, you'll be able to land the contract. That makes you a significant partner to that company. And second thing, if you have an established agency relationship, it will only help you get introduced to prime contractors. So if you know this small business specialist at a specific agency, you could reach out to them, ask them to get you introduced to a prime, and then the prime is more likely to actually talk to you because they're being introduced by the small business specialist at the agency that they won the contract from. So if you have that kind of pull with the agency and you're able to talk to them, reach out to them, you kind of get on calls with them, that would be a significant advantage for whoever wants to work with you or partner with you. And finally, understanding the process, understanding the government contracting process, knowing what to do, how to pull out data, how to find spending data, how to write even proposals, all of that makes you a strong partner that any other company would actually want to work with. Now let's get actually into how can we find these subcontracting opportunities. And I'm going to show you 2 ways, and guaranteed you will be able to find subcontracting opportunities if you follow these ways. So the first one, you have to have a software like SAM Search that pulls out these subcontracting opportunities. If you find online, you're not going to be able to find these at any government website. These are not easy to get by. What I would first start with is the high confidence government contracting opportunities. There are not a lot of these, but what this means is that the company is actively looking for subcontractors, and you reaching out is something that they're asking for. So these are the highest quality of leads. And given how high this and how important these things are, usually you're going to find between 50 and 200 opportunities depending on the day. What I would do is the high ones I would actually go through manually as much as possible. You could search, but the high ones, for example, if you're an HVAC system company in California, I would immediately jump on this. They're asking for businesses like you. And the same goes for all of these. And obviously a lot of these, they are in construction, HVAC, maintenance, some of them cybersecurity. But if you find any one of these, for example, you can just start the conversation, click on email contact, and you'll be able to send them an email and start the conversation. That's the first thing that I would do, because these are businesses that are actively looking for someone like you. And as I've mentioned, given the importance of these, I would actually go through these manually. And if you are in any like construction, landscaping, HVAC, you will find high confidence opportunities. Now, once we exhaust that, then I would want to go to medium and low confidence opportunities. And just because they're medium and low confidence doesn't mean that they're not high quality leads. These are companies that are pulled from GSA, the DOT, and these are companies that have awarded government contracts, and they are obligated by the government to subcontract. So even if they're not actively seeking subcontractors, they're obligated to subcontract. So it's a great opportunity for you to reach out to them and talk to them. And this is not, don't listen to me, this is what the government is saying. Let me actually pull it for you. As you can see here, the GSA, it says that federal contracts awarded to OTSBs over a certain threshold must contain a subcontracting plan. And the prime contractor, they need to subcontract small businesses, small disadvantaged businesses, and the list goes on. That's why I mentioned having a certificate helps you a lot. And they have to have a subcontracting reports for contracts with subcontracting plans. So these are companies that they have to subcontract. So you can search for these and using the NAICS code or using normal search. So for example, I'm searching here for cybersecurity, and then you're going to find companies that have won contracts in cybersecurity, and then you'll be able to talk to them. As you can see here, we have their contact information. So you have their phone number. You could pick up the phone and reach out to them. You can find their email, their phone number, their website. It's just information that you could use to talk to these companies, and you could reach out to them on LinkedIn, on email, whichever kind of form you think is best to actually get in touch with these companies. Now, that's the first way of how to find subcontracting opportunities. Even if you don't find on here, and there are a lot of opportunities, there are in the 50,000 plus, I think, opportunities. So I'm sure you will find something relevant to your business. But even then, I would highly advise you to look into partnerships. And these are companies that are registered to work with the government. What we want to do is we want to find companies that have experience with the government. So they are winning government contracts. They have to be in our NAICS code. So in my case, it would be custom computer programming services. And then you could also filter by a certificate. So if you want to target to work with a small business, if they have, for example, women-owned small business, then they are guaranteed to be a small business. And then if you want to filter by location, you could do that as well. But in my case, in computer software programming, or even in cybersecurity or IT, that's not going to be relevant. And you could use the SAM search score. The higher, the more kind of solid and higher quality the company is going to be. Now, then once you have a list, now we have around a list of 1,000 companies. And these are high quality leads. With each one of these, we have their website, we have their capability statement, email, contact information, we have a description about them, and most importantly, we have reference to their spending. What we want to see here is we want to see a strong SAM.gov profile. You can click on the link and see the spending over the past few years. What we are trying to see is they are actively winning multi-million-dollar contracts with the government. And as you can see here, we see that this one is 5 million, 3 million, 2 million. We want to go to the right side and see that a lot of these are recent. This one is not recent, for example. So let's actually filter on the side by 2021 and onwards. So let's check these years off and go back and submit. And now we're seeing that they are actively winning government contracts. This one is 2.2. This one is $300,000. Not as big as we want them to be. My thing is I would like to see if they also align exactly with what I can help with. So are they winning contracts that I know that I can offer value? Now, what we then want is we want to narrow this down to 50 companies that we would think are ideal candidates for us to reach out to. You have no excuse because you have their contact information, you have their phone number, you have their email, you have their website, you have all the contact information. What I would do is I would pull these out, add them to my CRM, for example, or add them to an Excel sheet, and then send a personalized email to each one of them, either pitching a contract. So if I find a contract that is relevant and they would like, and I would be a good addition to, I would reach out to them and pitch them the idea of working together. Obviously, you have to start the conversation. You're not going to go from the get-go, talk about partnering because they don't know you. What I would start with is reach out, contact them through email, contact them even on the phone, leave a voicemail. My goal is out of these 100 leads that I have, I want to build a relationship with at least 3 or 4, up to 5 of them. Once I have these 5, then it's a lot easier for me to land contracts with them, especially if they have something going on or they have something in the pipeline. And that's why I was checking here if they are actively winning government contracts, because if you see companies that are actively winning government contracts, that just means if I land a contract with them or I manage to convince them of working together, my chances of winning a contract are higher. So that's how I would go about finding subcontractors. Subcontracting is not really a perfect science. It's not like finding a contract. Everyone knows about SAM. Everyone knows how to find these contracts. Subcontracting is not as easy. And that's why when you have tools like this, it will make it as easy as it could be, because otherwise you're just going to listen to people talk to you about subcontracting, but none of them would actually give you actionable work that you could do to actually land these contracts. My goal here is to show you the way in ABC and how to do it. And this truly is the only way and the easiest way to do it. So I highly advise you, especially if you have not made your first 100,000, $1 million in government contracting, I highly advise you of reaching out to companies and trying to subcontract. It's much easier than winning as a prime when you are starting out. And even if you are a developed business and you are winning government contracts, you have to have subcontracting in your pipeline, because as we have mentioned, 65% of the spending for small businesses go actually through subcontracting, which is a significant amount. And again, I always want to mention small business, we're talking like in the millions. So most businesses fall within small business in the government space. I hope this was helpful. If you need to get access to this subcontracting database, I don't think any other software has this, by the way. It will literally make your life much easier. You'll have access to high confidence, medium, and all the partnerships. It's the easiest way to actually land subcontracting opportunities. So if you want access to this software, I'll leave a link in the description and in the first comment. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.